Welcome back. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We are Baltimore positive. I am positively on a weird mic here as I'm trying to get through this. Yeah, that's my mic. There we go. All right, we're all good now. We're out here at 1623. I am remiking guests here. We have beer makers. We have beer sellers. We have relatives of Jim Henneman. It's like royalty out here. John Allen's picking free beer in the back here. We're at 1623. We're in Eldersburg, Maryland, beautiful Carroll County. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. I have two fresh tickets. I keep holding these. This is John's non-winning ticket, but I'll hold it up anyway. The Lucky Sevens doubler as well as Pressure Luck. This is unpressed. Hopefully it is lucky. We're going to be out doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour on Friday at Zeke's in Laurelville. We'll have some coffee in the morning, and then we're going to be on a little bit of a respite for a couple weeks, and we come back with our 27th anniversary, 27 of my favorite things to eat in 27 days. The entire month of August we'll be doing that. Craig is here. Matt is here. We're out here at 1623. Got people that make beer, people that sell beer. You're related to Henneman, Craig. Let's start with that. I mean, anybody. Henneman's my guy. I guess I saw you at his funeral.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people that day, a lot of baseball people that day.
It was a crowded event, with no doubt.
So you are beer and baseball royalty. You're connected to both, correct?
Absolutely.
Matt, you're just a beer guy.
I'm just a beer guy.
Well, you do have an Oriole hat on here.
A big fan.
Well, Mike has spoken highly of you, and I've now sampled a few of your beers. I haven't had the Kolsch yet, so we got to get the Kolsch story out of you. But I want to start with the Henneman thing and just the Baltimore story, because when I think of Jim, everybody in that room, I don't think I've ever been to a more Baltimore funeral. You know what I mean? A Baltimore baseball funeral where, like, every corner of the room, there was Jim Palmer, and there was Phil Wood, and there was Bill Stecca, and there were players, and there Bob Brown's son, Scotty, was there. It was just this incredible celebration of his life, but really of a life in baseball, I think, as anything.
And Baltimore baseball specifically. It was pretty impressive to see some of the folks that came out just to pay their respects. That to me, because as a little backstory, in the last 14 months of his life, he lived with me at our house with my wife and I, and because he couldn't really get around much anymore. So I got an insight into what his life was like, a lot more so than even I thought I did. I thought I knew him really well.
Now, how are you related?
I am married to his daughter.
Wow.
His only daughter. So that makes me his favorite son-in-law.
Wow. Well, God bless you, man. I mean, when did you meet your wife?
We met a little over 40 years ago.
When did you meet her?
It was in 1983.
All right, so I met Jim around then. I became Jim's colleague on January 6, 1986, when I was birthed into the Evening Sun by Jack Gibbons, my boss, his boss as well. And, Jim was just an incredible mentor to so many people. But when I haven't had Ken on the show, Ken Rosenthal on the show, but I was young, but young enough to know as a 17, 18-year-old kid when this young 21, 22-year-old buck who's about this tall came in, and Jim Henneman was the legendary Jim Henneman, and he was going to sort of take his job at some point. Jim was going to be the national baseball writer. I remember Jim not being pleased with that, like in the beginning part. And then Jim sort of embraced all of it. And we're talking 40 years later upon his death. We're talking about a guy who adjusted. Even that I learned at his funeral was the bat boy. And the opening day, 1963, down in D.C., he's got that picture with Louis Aparicio that was next to the casket, literally, that Tim Kirchin took me up to. And I'm like, man, my cousin touched Jim Henneman in a massive, massive way. And I'm sure Henneman, when I was a young guy, said, I knew your cousin. Yeah, I knew Louis,
It's funny you say it, because in that picture, what people don't know is he's wearing a pair of cleats that he borrowed from Brooks Robinson, because the bat boy didn't show up, so they had to recruit somebody, and his boss basically recruited
Stedman,
him.
It was my boss.
Stedman,
crazy.
Yeah, Stedman sent it. Jim will do it.
John was crazy.
He didn't have anything, so he ended up borrowing cleats from Brooks Robinson, and everybody else was giving him a bunch of stuff, which was pretty cool. We have that picture at the house, too. It's just a cool picture.
Matt, you're young and sexy. Does this mean anything to you wearing an Oriole hat, this old Oriole lore?
Oh,
Does it have value to young people?
I'm familiar with all the
I
old
hope
names.
it does, because, I mean, this is one thing. In the parking lot of the funeral home out at Due to Ruck, our Ruck funeral, I call it Due to Ruck because that's a Dundalk thing, but the Ruck funeral home in Towson. I'm there in the parking lot. I was with Brett Hollander. Yes. He might be closer to your age than my age, I would say. And Brett he had done the game the day before and was asking me, this and that. And I talked to him and said, Brett, there's so few people that really know and care to know, who are in their 20s or 30s, beyond Jim Palmer being sexy in the broadcast or whatever, but how great Jim Palmer was. Right. And now that Brooks is gone and Louis is not around and Frank's gone. I saw during the rain delay the other day they did the Frank Robinson statue thing they were doing the other night. I hope that young people have an appreciation for people like Jim Henneman and people who laid the groundwork to make you want to wear the hat.
Oh, yeah.
Be proud of
He's an idol
hat.
for a lot of people.
Oh, there's no question about that. Well, you make beer, dude. So we're at 1623. Brett's a sexy shirt you got there. My shirt's not that good, but
I got to rep it.
Mike has already sort of introduced you as being a Kolsch guy and not necessarily an IPA. IPA. I say to IPAs what the Iranian wrestler was the Sada.
The Great Hussein.
You
had him and
he had the things. Yeah, he was a Haktui on IPA. Haktui.
What was his name?
The
Iron Sheik.
Iron Sheik. He wrestled Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
Iron Sheik. Say Haktui on IPA.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm
hilarious.
a stout guy, and I'm a Kolsch guy. John had some dark thing over there, looked like midnight, that I'd be getting into as well. But what do you drink as a guy?
I'm a big lager guy, so Kolsch is my absolute favorite. I'll drink that any day of the week.
Is Kolsch a lager?
It's a hybrid, so it's a mix of an ale and a Kolsch. We can get a little bit of both out of it. So you get those nice lager characteristics, but we get the tank times and whatnot that
tank
you would
time.
get.
What's a tank time?
How long it sits in our tanks itself. So they can range anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months.
It's like John, you play rock and roll, I listen to it, right? And I mean, you make beer, I drink beer. So I'm here to learn today. What's the most important thing people need to know about making beer?
Temperature is the most important thing. And water. Water, I would say, is probably first. Water is the most important thing.
I'm from Essex. We call it water.
Water. Some water.
Yeah, I'm a water guy, too.
We're
water guys.
Water.
But then temperature follows shortly after that. They're both very vital in how it comes out in the end.
I had my first beer when I was, 10, 11, 12, whatever it was.
I think that was about the same age as me.
I never thought – I'm from Dundalk, man. We all drank, right? It was a problem. Cannabis wasn't readily available as it is now. To have a taste for it, I'll be honest with you, and this will involve Richard back here. Richard doesn't remember this. Rich, we had a guy in Reisterstown Road. We used to camp out for concert tickets. We're going to talk about this. He took me back to his house in Pikesville, and I'll never forget this. He had a Kolsch, and he also had those Mickey Widemouth lagers, right?
Okay, yep.
And he also had the beer that had you pulled the top off. It was a German long neck. It was dark, but it was like motor oil.
Oh, Grolsch.
Grolsch.
Yeah, Grolsch.
I was going to say rhymes with Kolsch.
Grolsch.
Yep.
Grolsch.
First
Grolsch was the name.
right
First time I ever got drunk as like an 11, 12-year-old was on. I went to Chesco Inn with my sister's boyfriend.
Chesco Inn. He went to the Chesco Inn, John. Yeah.
Played
Chesco Inn. Over there, hon. Yeah.
Played pool with him, lost a bunch and drank Grolsch all night and got hammered at 12 years old.
I don't know.
No. I don't know.
It rhymes with Kolsch,
yeah,
right?
It rhymes with, but I mean, there's a lot of different styles that kind of sound the same.
I'm trying to think of the other dark Beck's Bock.
Yep.
That was like motor oil, right?
Yep.
So when we were camping out or whatever, it was like, I want a Coors Light. Give me Miller Lite. We didn't even have Coors Light when we were young. I was bootlegging. But you know, like Miller High Life, Budweiser. There was barely a Bud Light. I'm going back into the early
Natural
80s.
Light.
Natural Light, Busch.
Pat Blue Ribbon.
Busch beer.
PBR.
Schaefer was the Weekender.
Yes.
Red, White, and Blue. He had some really shitty beers.
Stroh's.
Yeah, I mean,
You remember
It got the
Stroh's?
job done, though.
Stroh had Alex, the dog.
Yeah,
right?
oh,
Right?
God.
Yeah.
It might not have been great, but it got the job done.
You know, I gotta put a.
Yours
stick
fell
on.
down here.
Yeah, I'm popping my peas, and I know better than to do all this. I sound hot, even though I'm not on the radio. So I drank all of these motor oil beers out in Pikesville when I was a kid, and I didn't know any better, and I thought I didn't like anything that looked like motor oil. Like I'm telling stories I've never told before. It's good that I'm staring at Richard because he's involved in all these stories back in the day. But in Dundalk, we threw parties and keggers, and we had cups, and it was Bud Miller Coors. It was like lager, right?
Yep.
So I'm a lager guy. That's probably why the IPA thing. It's just bitter, and I don't want more than one. I don't even want to finish the damn one you put in front of me.
It's a new craze. It's an acquired taste. A lot of people, to each their own. I'm not the biggest IPA fan. It screws with me a little too much, but you do get some good flavor profiles.
But I'm with you, dude. I'm a lager guy, and as I've gotten older, I started to get into stouts when I got a black and tan, right? I got a black and tan, and sexy, 2 different colors, 2 different flavor profiles. And then I'm 56 now, and my palate has changed from a food standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I love foods that I didn't know I would love, and I'm doing my 27 favorite foods next month, so if you're into Indian food, if you're into Thai food, if you're into Chinese food, if you're into pho, I'm all about that, but I'm going to do cookies and snowballs and crab cakes too. I mean, I'm going to mix it up. But I have a wide palate, and I would say I have a wide drinking palate. I don't love whiskeys. I don't love ryes. I don't like things that give me the bitter, tart. I don't like tart. But I have fallen in love with stout. You have a delicious milk stout here.
Thank you very
I get the left-hand milk stout for years.
That's a classic. That's a good one.
But that's a gateway drug to coming into breweries.
And a lot of it is the inspiration behind what we do. I mean, from my standpoint, I look up to a lot of those bigger breweries like Deschutes, Left Hand.
Lagunitas.
Lagunitas is another good one.
Shout out for you, Britt.
I got my start at Rogue Ales out in Oregon, and I was there for a few years. So I come to appreciate those guys a lot, and I take a lot of what I do and put it into our product here.
How many are you running on? I mean, I got the big tanks back here, F1, F2, F3. Sounds like engine. Sounds like a race going on back here.
We have a total of 30 tanks in total between fermentation, conditioning, all the sorts. Some of our tap lines are fed directly from a 15-barrel tank, so that's roughly about 400 gallons of tank space sitting in the cooler alone, and we have 8 of those in our cooler.
You make anything blueberry for me, or no? You haven't gotten to that
We
yet.
did a blueberry sour last year.
Okay.
We have another berry sour coming out later this year that'll probably be like a mix of blackberry and blueberry, but that one will be a good one when it comes out.
I had a friend that was a brewery rep for a famous Pennsylvania line. I'm not going to, and they're a little right wing for my taste, but he said, "We don't put fruit in our beer. We don't put fruit in our beer." I went up to, I just
saw a King of the Hill meme for that.
I saw Springsteen play up on the hill in Moncton, New Brunswick, up in northern Canada, up by, beautiful part of the world, and I had a Moosehead Light Lime that
Moosehead's
weekend.
Good.
And I'm a Moosehead drinker. You're a lager guy, I'm a lager man. You will never come into my home where there's not a Moosehead in the fridge. I don't drink it all the time.
That's a good sign to have.
But, I really like Moosehead beer, and it's a palate thing for me. And off of that, whether it's the Mexican lines of limes and salts or fruit in general, I'm not a shandy. I don't want a sweet beer. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
But I also don't want the bitter beer, that thing going on as well.
And the big thing around here is it's either your super light lager or your super sugared sour beer, and that's what a lot of people look for, or high ABV. It's kind of the general crowd for
now,
this
Craig,
area.
you sell it here, right?
Yes,
you
sir.
sell the beer. When it comes to pallets and different things like that, that's the thing that is amazing to me from being a guy. I've been on the radio 27 years for the station this week, but I've been on the air 34 years, and I was Bud sponsored. I was Miller sponsored. They built my radio station. Right. I mean, Budweiser gave me $30,000 in the middle of the strike in 1994 and said, "Have a radio show. We want you to be in business." John Dow, George Acton over at Winter Distributing. So I was Bud first, but Bud and John will hate to hear this, but I was a Coors Light drinker because Bud would give me a hangover. Bud Light will hang me over.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
Still
what's
will.
in it. I don't know
Same
what's
way.
in it. Miller Light will hang me over. Coors Light will not hang me over. So if you see me out drinking Coors Light and you make a piss water joke, have at it. I made that joke with the folks at Bond Distributing. I did my show in 1998 from Coors Field, and I called it Pissy Water Field for a week. And the Bond family and Leslie and Randy over at the family Footlick and Pinkner, they called me over, and I'll never forget. Bob Footlick calls me into his office. He became a dear friend of mine. I love Bob. I love both the Bobs. And I'm in their office. Bob Footlick's got his cigar out. He's like, "Son, we can't have you calling the beer Pissy Water. We can't have you calling it that. We need to come up with a deal." I'm like, "You got to sponsor my show, Mr. Footlick. You know, I mean,
absolutely.
You got to sponsor the
Give
show."
me a
That's
reason
one way
to.
around it, right?
I said, "I've been drinking Coors Light the whole time I've been talking about Bud." I mean, I literally would get a Coors Light and dump it into a Bud. But I'm admitting things that it's true because it would hang me over, and I just couldn't do it.
Right.
So I'm afraid of certain beers. And, Matt, I'll tell you that. By the way, Craig's here, Matt's here. We're at 1623. We're drinking beer in Eldersburg. 3 summers ago, I did my first crab cake tour. I did 25th anniversary. I did 25 crab cakes, 25 days, 24 counties, all over the state. And the next year, because we had so much fun, my wife and I were driving around, we found all the breweries. And I said, we should, for the Maryland Brewers Association, like all that, we went. Well, we did 26, but I did about 37 breweries. There were some out in the
There's
Cumberland.
a lot of really good
I was out on the
breweries in
west
the
side of
area.
the state, and I was hitting 2 a day.
Yeah.
Two different. One in the
It's a
morning,
little
one in
too
the
easy
evening.
for you, though.
Yeah, and I didn't go crazy. Short glass in a lot of places, most places I get a stout, I get a Kolsch, I get a lager, I get a Pilsner. As a young person, I would spend time in Venezuela with my father and my family. There's a beer there called Polar, Polar. It's got a polar bear on it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I've had it.
Exactly what you're talking about.
It's a Pilsner. It's a Pils.
I've had it many times.
And so Alma downtown has it in bottle. It's very hard to get in America, especially with Venezuelan and corruption and all that. But that was a gateway for me when I was in my teens, early 20s, that I loved that Pilsner. So I'm a Pilsner lager guy, and probably everything comes off of that except for stout and then Kolsch. So my wife had cancer 12 years ago and had her life saved by a guy who lives near Cologne, Germany.
Okay.
So we've been over to Cologne several times, and if you spend any time there at all,
that's
the
the heart of it.
Kolsch, it's a culture.
Yep,
it's
it is.
literally a
That
Kolsch
is the
culture.
heart. That is the birthplace of the Kolsch, and you will find the most amazing Kolschs from that area.
Well, what are you making here? What are you making Kolsch-wise? Because that's your thing,
We
right?
have quite a few. Right now, we have a fruited Kolsch on with mango and passion fruit. We use about 800 pounds of fruit in total for that beer. And then we are bringing back, so later on this year, we are going to be part of the Waterfowl Festival out in Easton, Maryland, and we're going to be doing a private label for that one as well, and that's going to be our Kolsch Worth the Wade. So
cool,
it'll
right.
definitely be sticking around for a little while and coming back, making a big show.
Next time you guys go to Cologne, I'm going to send you to Bea Uma Kleiman. Bea Uma Kleiman.
Okay.
It's the most famous schnitzel place in the world.
All right.
So if you Google it, you'll see it's very, very humble. It sits in a normal neighborhood, on a normal road, with graffiti all over the outside. If you walk in, it's not, but it's the best schnitzel in the world.
That's where you find the best places, though.
Yes.
It's the unconspicuous places.
yes.
Bea Uma Kleiman, as I get crab dip coming in here. If I start eating it, I stop talking, which is a hint. So I went in, and I fell in love with the Kolsch there. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of Kolsch. We were downtown Cologne. You go around and they bring it to you. If you Google this, they bring it in these metal, they look like milk cartons, and they're all little cups, and they bring it with the wires. It's almost like a crab pot.
Yeah.
And they drop it, and it's just beer everywhere with the heads on it, and they cut the heads off of all of it, right?
And then they just automatically start refilling you.
And
as soon as you get low.
they're little 6-ounce cups, and the beer stays cold in the summertime. It's delicious. I fell in love with this. You can Google this. It's Sunner. But my German brothers from other mothers have said it's Zuner.
Yes.
Sunnr. I called it Sunner. So I fell in love with it. And the second time we went to Cologne, I Googled it all up, and I found out where their garden was. And you could take the subway out of Cologne, 3 miles, just on the other, like the Parkville of Cologne.
Yeah.
And we went to their garden. And I sat there, and dude, this would be like me going over to your tap and just going. I'm over there in Germany drinking.
We
the
get the
Kolsch.
request for that all the time. Let me just put my head under the tap.
Can I poop on Ron Furman down at Max's, formerly on Broadway, Max's Tap House? Ron has had the Zuner on tap 3 of the last 4 Octobers and refuses to call me. And I remember it in December. He's like, you got to come in October. It's Oktoberfest. We get a keg of it. And we bring it in. We tap that MFR, and it's gone by the end of the weekend. I'm like, you got to get me in when it arrives.
Yeah, beforehand.
And they test it. Somebody's got to taste
Quality
test
control.
It. Quality control.
Now, you went to Cologne.
We got our quality control guys right back here.
That's right. They're here all the time. But my dad went to Germany and Austria. He worked at Bethlehem Steel. When they were bringing a continuous casting machine to Bethlehem Steel, they had to get people trained on it. So he was sent over to Germany and Austria for 15 weeks to learn how to use this machine and all this stuff. And he could never drink another American beer when he came back. He came back. He drank beer over there for 15 weeks. When he came back, he said everything he got back here tasted so bad he couldn't drink it
I'm
anymore.
not big on warm beer, so that's another. European
I was actually
thing.
just having a conversation about this with somebody the other day about hand pull beers. When they're done well, they're done fantastic, and you can drink them at warm temperature. But it's very hard to find in the States. That's for one thing. Very few and far between. I've probably found one that I've actually enjoyed out in Omaha, of all places.
I had a steak there once.
Hey, they got a great steakhouse,
Hey,
too.
they did. It was fine. All right, we're talking beer here just in a general sense, and we're at 1623 Brewing. John's been here. We've done Rock and Roll. We've done Essex. We're going to do Live Aid. I got Richard and Dave here. I'm lubricating them over here with some good European lagers. For soup to nuts to start a beer and to say, I'm going to do Nestor's Favorite Stout online. We're going to have it here in October when the weather starts to change or whatever. I'm kind of shocked you have stout year-round. I mean, I don't think of it as a winter thing. I wouldn't load up on it on a 100-degree day, but I prefer it. I call it like a milkshake. It's kind of like the beginning of the Guinness have dinner in a glass kind of thing, right?
And
I've
we
been to
have
Dublin too.
Yeah, and we have a dry stout on as well too. That is a perfect all year round stout. Light, drinkable, but you get full chocolate, roasty coffee, all the great notes that you get in stout.
Good.
That's coming up next. That'll be in the next segment. But if to dream up something that's new that you want to do, to getting it done, what's the sort of pregnancy of a beer? How long does this last?
It depends, really. I've gotten a lot of different places from a lot of random places, and he'll confirm this. I've reached out. I've gotten random thoughts at 2 a.m. Watching MasterChef.
I want to do a cherry wheat.
Exactly. So it's like
pomegranate pistachio.
Yeah,
that's where that
pomegranate
came from.
pistachio. So I was watching
later.
MasterChef, and they were making these Turkish Delight candies on the show. I'm like, pomegranate pistachio, that could work in a beer. So I texted him up, be like, hey, you think you could sell this? I was like, it's weird, but I think I could do it. And
so you really are dreaming things up. You're borrowing ideas, right? Literally, right?
Yeah. I get my inspiration from a lot of different things, whether it be food. I'm big on food, cooking and eating, whatever it may be. So
they brought all this. I got wings. I can't sit here and eat it all.
For
they're bringing me this stuff here. I mean, Mike's handing me this. If I start eating, this is crab dip. Was that?
That is crab dip.
All right,
with
I like
a little
that.
naan bread.
All right, I'm going to have at this. You guys have to talk if I start eating.
All right.
We can handle talking for a little bit.
How are we selling beer? How does beer sell? Because I part of the whole Miller Coors thing was like, I used to go into any liquor store, and it was Miller Coors and Bud, maybe a little bit of Heineken here, and a little bit of these dark beers, and who the hell would drink that? I was at Red Brick Station. I did the show a couple months ago, and he was one of the first people I knew, Bill Blocker, who I walked in and I saw his things. And we laugh about it. It was 30 years ago. We had a long segment we did. Please go watch that. Bill's a great guy, his daughter, and they have this beautiful thing over at the Avenue. We're 50 miles away from the other side of town here in Eldersburg. But I remember saying to him, I was trying to do my Raven show in his place in 97, 98.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I was Bud sponsored. I was Coors sponsored. I was Miller. He didn't have any of it in there. I'm like, how the hell are you going to stay in business serving dark, flat, warm beer, And I was so wrong about brewery culture and all that. Yeah. Selling this now, it sort of sells itself to some degree when you say, I've got a pomegranate pistachio and nobody's ever tasted it. Like, I want to try that, right?
It's not quite as simple as that because there's so many breweries now. Like when you're talking about what he was doing over there at Red Brick Station. I lived over there. I lived in Parkville over the time, so we used to go over there all the time. It was a lot easier because it wasn't. Now there's
he was the only place doing it, right?
Yeah, it's 150 breweries here in Maryland or whatever the number is now, and everybody's coming out with something new all the time. So you think we come out with the pomegranate pistachio sour, awesome. That's going to sell easy. I'm going to go out there and talk to people about it. But I'm like one of 15 breweries that came in that week with a new beer. So and the liquor stores only have so much space.
And they had a strawberry lemonade shandy, and this guy had a peach, whatever.
Right. So it really comes down. It's selling like anything else. It's a relationship-based business. You build a relationship based on the service you provide to a customer and stores. And once they get to know you, they know you're always going to be there. You're going to service them when they have a problem. Then you come in with something new, then they're willing to bring it in. But it's a lot more competition out there now for this kind of beer, any of these things than there's ever been in the past.
And I've heard that from all the breweries. I'm not beer sponsored right now. I'm cannabis sponsored. My thanks to Curio Wellness. You could have told me that 35 years ago that Bud and Miller and Coors would just be decimated by a million of you because you're making a different concept. You're bringing it local. We all know what Bud tastes the same is the same is the same, and that's what you want. And sometimes I want that. Sometimes when I'm going to drink more than 3 or 4 beers, I'll just start with Coors Light in the beginning of the day, and my wife knows, like, if I'm going to a concert, I'm going all night because I can't mix sours with stouts. I don't mix liquors, let alone I'm 56 years old. I know what a hangover feels like. I've had too many of them, and I don't want one today. That I don't mix and match in a general sense. Do you find that there are certain beers you would say, like John had that other dark that you had going on, and I had a stout. Is there a mix and match thing where if I were to sit here and let's say I have 2 or 3 beers that have 2 or 3 different kind of beers that wouldn't be upsetting to the system?
Absolutely. And it's the way we approach a lot of the beers that we do. It's approachability for all people and anybody's taste buds. So whether you are a seltzer drinker or just somebody who doesn't like beer at all, we may have something that you like, whether it's a very fruited or a sour beer. There's always something.
Sours don't taste like beer. They taste like cider kind of sort
of. They do, yeah. They have a very
sweet,
ciderish character.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's a lot of approachability to our beers that opens it up to people to get them into the beer world. Actually introduce them like not all beer tastes the same. It doesn't always taste like Budweiser, Coors, or anything like that. So you can really get some flavors. Like our Mexican lager is a full-flavored, full-bodied Mexican lager. It tastes.
If you drink a Modelo or you drink a Dos Equis, it's in that range, but it's.
Yeah, but you know what you're getting with that. And, like, you're going to know what you get with our product because we're always staying consistent and everything. But at the same time, it's like we're adding a little extra to ours to basically really emphasize the flavors that we can pull from beers naturally without actually having to add any kind of actual flavoring to the beer itself.
Temperature,
and water.
If I stick my finger in there, is it hot, cold? What's
going on? We have a few vessels right here that are right up front. Those are our hot side vessels. That's where all the brewing itself is done. And then all the tanks you see with an F number or a B number on there.
When you say brewing, how long does it brew?
The brew process itself takes about 10 hours of the actual brewing.
One time?
Yep, one time. And then the beer itself.
So it's like an Easter dinner. It's like 10 hours with the roast. Okay, got it. All right.
And then you have about 2 weeks to 2 months of it sitting in the F tanks.
That's ferment.
Yep, fermentation.
F for ferment.
F for ferment. There we go. We're catching on.
I'm going to be brewing beer by the end of this segment. Trust me.
So it just depends on the style, whether you're looking to do a lager, which takes a little bit more time because those have a longer conditioning period, or an ale that you could turn in, say, 2 weeks and have it ready for people to drink and be able to turn those over fast and have fresh product on the shelf.
Just varies very dramatically by what type of beer you're doing, really. That's really what it comes down to and what you're trying to do with that beer.
Craig Weiss is here. Matt Evans is here. Matt brews beer. Craig sells it. We're at 1623. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. You guys are going to get the fresh press the luck. You get the first pressure luck. So I have a whole new set of tickets around here for this month. I have the Lucky Sevens. I'm going to be giving these out on Friday morning out at Zeke's as well. You guys are open at 2 in the afternoon. The kitchen's open. Liberatories is very involved. My friend Dante couldn't be here this week. He's on vacation. You get a lucky doubler,
awesome.
7 doubler there. Yeah,
awesome.
John had a non when he got the schmutz all over the table here. So I mean,
just a little rude.
Well, the Back to the Futures, I still have a handful of these as well. And it is our final. It's gonna be our final crab cake tour stop on Friday morning at Zeke's. I've got Dan Roderick's. Former political cartoonist Kevin Gallagher, before he got fired 2 weeks ago. And I have all the deposed Baltimore Sun people coming over. So Dan Rogers, and also Rasig's going to be with us. And we're going to be talking about brewing coffee. So, like...
We do a little bit of that here, too.
Well, he's got the coffee thing that the little animal poops out the thing. And we'll talk. I talked to Thomas Rhodes about all that. I love coffee, too, man. Like, I love a dark roast coffee. I don't want any of that light nonsense. So give me that blonde bourgeois. I have a very defined palate. I love food. I love booze. I love coffee. But I don't like bitter in a general sense. You've done a coffee stout here. We've
done a few coffee stouts. We also do our own. We do our very own nitro cold brew as well that we keep on tap, and it can either be served.
See, that's weird to me. I ain't never done that before. You're talking about the cold. And it's cold.
No, it's like
cold beer.
Yeah, it's pouring cold, but it's poured like a Guinness essentially. We keep it on tap like
I've never done the coffee version of that. I've never done the
I'll be
nitro
sure to bring
coffee.
I'll be sure to bring some over.
Beer, I'll do cold beer. I just don't do cold coffee.
Okay.
Really, ever?
I've never had a cold coffee in
Really?
my life. It doesn't even seem like.
It's good.
We'll see.
I like iced tea.
I'll bring you some. Maybe I can change it.
Coffee is supposed to be served hot. Beer is supposed to be served cold. I'm from Dundalk.
Generally speaking, I do beer festivals, do this stuff all the time. And one of the main questions I get all the time, well, what's your favorite beer? And my answer is always the same, cold one.
Yeah.
If it's cold, it's my favorite beer. That's what I
Well,
like.
I'll end this segment after 30 minutes of beer conversation and saying that Bruce Springsteen, before I bring Richard and David here to tell old Live Aid stories, Bruce Springsteen would say, heaven is cold beer at a reasonable price. At a reasonable price.
Amen.
We have that here at
Amen.
1623, right?
Amen. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Happy hour good here? Everything's good?
Happy hour's fantastic.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to get everybody out of here. We're in Eldersburg. I'm 2 beers deep in here. Probably sounds on the air like I'm 4 beers deep. First time. It's not the first time I've been inebriated on the air. I mean, I was Bud Miller and Coors sponsored in the 90s, back when I was younger. Send out the Uber. I'm out here in Carroll County. Well, we're in a unique location. I told John, I'm like, it's sort of in the back of like
Yeah,
a
we're tucked
warehouse
back
in a
here.
park. But once you get back here, it's a place that it's worth the journey, worth the
absolutely.
destination.
100%.
Great food out here, great beer. Our friends at 1623. And when Mike came over and did the show with me at Dante's place, we were Liberatories a couple summers ago, 2 or 3 summers.
I think it was about 2 years ago.
It was 3 summers ago.
3
now.
summers,
It's been
okay.
3 summers ago. Summer 22.
Yep.
We did the show over there, and he left me like he's doing with John, a case of all sorts of random beer. I fell in love with the stout.
Oh, yeah. We'll be sure to send you
So
some
I'm
of
a
that.
stout guy, and when the stout was in the fridge, those got drank first before any of the pilsners or the lagers or any of that. Maybe it's my style to drink the stout, but I've loved your stout. I was looking
I
forward to
appreciate
get back
that.
and get it.
Thank you very much.
Can I buy it anywhere? Or can where
Yep.
can I get the stout, like in the marketplace?
Pretty much most local liquor stores in the Carroll County area, almost every liquor store carries their stuff. As we go around Maryland, you'll find more and more as we keep working every day to try and get more and more to pick it up. But we're pretty well spread out, and if they don't have it when you walk in, if you ask them for it, they can get it for you because we're distributed by the biggest distributor in the Baltimore area.
so you ain't got to drive all the way to Eldersburg.
No.
No.
It's nice
Nope.
if you do. It's fine. You
Hey,
come out
we'll
here.
gladly take you in.
Yes.
We'll take it to
We'll
them.
hook you up.
We'll take it to them. Is that the idea? It's like the milkman, bringing the
Yes.
beer to them.
We'll get it down there, yes,
All right,
absolutely.
my thanks to
Yes, sir.
Matt and Craig for coming out, and Mike for just being great and hosting us up today. John Allen has been out here telling rock and roll. He can't leave. Richard and David are here. They're 2 of my oldest friends in the whole world. We are going to talk about Live Aid. They attended Live Aid in London. I attended Live Aid in Philadelphia. Here are my ticket stubs, and we're going to get to this in the next segment. But these are my Live Aid ticket stubs. That's the real thing right there from back in the day. And just to tell you that I really was at Live Aid, my bumper sticker says, I saw Live Aid. So Richard and David are going to be here. They went to London, and they brought a bag, and they started pulling stuff out. I'm like, you don't understand. We're going to do this on the air.
Hold that for the show.
I don't know what they have, and they don't know what I have. But I have some pretty cool stuff here. So we're going to come back from 1623. We're going to continue to drink. We're going to continue to give away Back to the Future lottery scratch-offs, as well as Lucky 7 scratch-offs, as well as the new thing I have, which is the Pressure Luck, which is the whammy. You ever do the whammy?
Yeah.
I take your beer.
I love that show.
I hated the whammy. Everybody
love
hated the whammy.
but
I loved him, but he would come and screw you.
Yes. Yes, but
He would dance across the screen.
He was inventive.
He would make fun of you, too.
Yes.
He would, like, sort of piss on you while you
Yeah.
lost. It's bad enough you're losing. You get bankrupt, and now
And
you
you
got
get a
this
cartoon character
Yeah, right.
pissing all over your cornflakes.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of
Some
rough.
Chiron,
I get it.
Philly on Pressure Luck. Beat them. Go beat the whammy and win some money. Our friends at the Maryland Lottery and Curio Wellness putting us out. These are our final shows for our 27th anniversary. I'm going to be eating a lot of food next month, drinking a lot of beer, eating a lot of pizza. We're going to be doing the show all sorts of places. We're going to kick it off at the Beaumont on the 7th of August with my favorite fried lobster tail. Although I'm not bougie. Everything's not going to be bougie like that. I'm doing crab cakes, yes, but I'm also doing cookies. I'm doing my favorite pretzel. I'm doing my favorite snowballs.
There we
I'm
go.
doing my favorite desserts. So we're going to be doing a lot of things. That is our 27th anniversary because we've been here a long time. I may have 27 beers before I leave here. I am Nestor. We're stepping out. We're at 1623. We're going to come back and tell some old rock and roll stories of going to Wembley in London, seeing Live Aid. I even wore my my
Oh, hell yeah.
Roger Daltrey
Yes.
That
Ride
is
a Rock
fantastic.
Horse belt.